So this is another quick thought, unscripted Deltarune Theory video. Um, I think I know what's gonna be the theme of Darkners in Chapter 6. Like what's gonna be the motivation behind why they attack you in the chapter. Because this is like a smaller thing, but every chapter has sort of had the motivations of why certain characters attack you throughout the series. In chapter one, they just had to obey their king, and their king wanted you dead. Uh, in chapter two, um, they were just obeying the queen, who, um, well, chapter two actually had like a wide mix of characters. It had the Viru Virukuns who just like to cause chaos. It had the ambulances, which were police enforcers, and um, had the werewires who were like mind controlled by the queen. So you had like a variety of different reasons in chapter two. In chapter three, they were contractually obligated by Tenna, and that one has a lot of focus. In chapter four, um, everyone's like sort of in a very dark and confusing dark world. So everyone's just worried that you could be the knight. None of them know that you're the heroes yet. They think you're the knight, or they think you're like otherwise some sort of troublemaker, or maybe they're like the Wickabells and they just liked to cause mischief. You know, that sort of thing. Um, in chapter five, they were like, I think there was also like a wide variety of reasons in chapter five. Some of them were like hired by the flowers to stop you, like the Shino beetles, I think were, and then like the Floridans, I think they were just trying to. I don't remember what the Floridans deal was. I think the Floridans are just like a wild card, I guess. But my point is that every chapter sort of had a reason for why the enemies were attacking you. Which they do need, because Undertale was just, oh, everyone's trying to get your soul. That's really easy to understand. Every chapter needs to introduce a new reason for the villains to be after you. And I think I know what the reason in chapter 6 is going to be. So I do think it is going to be the Holiday Manor. I don't think it's going to be the hospital, just because I feel like Noel's house has more potential as a dark world. And another thing is that hospital patients are sometimes like, if they're like on their last day, they will be moved to their home so they can like spend their last day with their family. That happens a lot sometimes. If the hospital is like close enough to their real home, they can sometimes go there for like a day and like die on their deathbed, I guess. So it'd be like Rudy's on his deathbed in the beginning of chapter 6. And then the Dark World is created in the Holiday Manor. I feel like that would make a lot of sense. But what do we know about a few of the characters that we will probably be seeing in chapter 6? Well, Device Friend is almost definitely going to be a enemy in chapter 6 or 7. Now, I'd like to tie Device Friend to Noelle's cat petter game. Noelle had a cat petters game, and in it, she liked to download all these mods that did like weird things to the cats. And so she has like a save file with like 7 headless cats. Ugh. I mean, Device Friend could be like the 7-headed beast, I guess. Like that could be the aesthetics that they're going for Device Friend, is that he's the 7 heads of the cats that Noelle decapitated. Um, or otherwise just other cats that Noelle mistreated. And perhaps the cats, these like mistreated Darkners, they would rally around someone like Eram, who maybe was Chris's old headband. I have many videos on that. I am almost convinced Eram is like the devil horns, who Chris just like either threw away, lost, maybe purposefully tried to hide at some point. Um, like I could see Eram inciting an uprising against Noel, uh, with the cats. Like Eram rises up the cats to get revenge on Noel, or something. Eram maybe doesn't hate Chris because in the weird route, Eram does try to get Chris to go back to their prankster nature and do bad things, do murders and stuff. Um, Another enemy type that I'm expecting to see in Chapter 6 are the Santa Clauses. So, in the Holiday Manor, we learned this in Chapter 4. Chris actually used to glue the Santas shut and pretend to starve them because they were inanimate objects. Chris didn't really think that this could actually hurt them. So they just like played this macabre idea of like gluing the Santas shut to starve them of their battery power. Um, I could see when the Santa Clauses come to life, they would be really mad at Chris. It would be really mad. And so I think that's going to be a big theme of Chapter 6. And we saw this a little bit with King, the Chaos King. We learned that what happened with Chaos King was that whatever Lightner used to own that playing deck of cards accidentally tore the king card. And so that entire deck of cards was like stored away in a storage container. Um, so the Chaos King takes that as abandonment. The Lightners didn't know the cards were alive, quote unquote, but they sort of like treated them being put in the closet as like abandonment. Um, and I could see that all of the Darkners who feel like they've been rejected by the Lightners, whether that be a Lightner made a mistake not knowing the Darkner was alive, or it's like a perceived injustice, something like that, I think it could be the case that all of the enemies in Chapter 6 are sort of Lightner haters like the Chaos King was. But this time, it's not just, oh, they're all subject to the Chaos King, so they have to listen to him. No, instead, it's a whole army of characters that actively hate the Lightners and want to see the Roaring, to see, like, the end of the Light World. Which, that could be the motivation of the deep darkness that Flowey was talking about. Like it sounds like there's some beast in like the deep darkness that's going to destroy the world. And maybe that's what the Titans are. They're like these deep dark things that feel like they've been rejected by the Lightners and all they know is destruction. But there could be something like as deep as the Titans that like has some sort of malicion towards the light world. I could see that as well. There's lots to theorize about here, but I do think when we go into chapter 6 and 7, we might be seeing a lot more malice or otherwise just like unforgiveness or something like that, Wrath. I guess I could say wrath. Whether that be justified wrath or unjustified wrath or um, I don't know. Um, Basically, I think we're gonna start seeing some Darkners that actively hate the Lightners in the future chapters. Uh, Maybe they love some Lightners and hate others. Maybe they hate all Lightners because of what just a few Lightners did. I think that's going to be the theme of some of our enemies going forward, whether that be in chapter 6 or 7. I feel like it's a very natural way for the story to go, and so this isn't like a grand like prediction of like many things that are going to happen. This is just a prediction of like a theme that I think we're going to see in the next chapter that I think we should probably prepare for. Um, the wrath of the Darkners, I guess.